family. This is your boy Al Laws with Advice for Life every Tuesday at 8:30. Always coming to you, trying to really make sure you get kick some knowledge about relationships in general. I try to cover every relationships that there is, because the principles of relationship apply. It doesn't matter what context it's in. They just apply. So I love this opportunity to bring you family strengthening skills to teach about the principles of relationship, because these relationships, again, there are many different types that we have in our life. It's our whole family system. And so I'm here hosting again, but as you know, you can see my wife, my lovely wife, who's usually with me, Aisha. She's not able to be with us tonight. And this is actually kind of the end of our summer programming. We're actually going to be going on vacation. So unless we surprise you, and we might shout out a surprise, we're going to probably take the next 2 weeks off. So look, remember, you can always get our information. If you really want to hear us, if you want to connect with us, remember, you can connect with us through our website, which is advice4life.us. You also can get us, connect with us on YouTube. And of course, YouTube, I want you to like it, and I want you to share it. And I want you to subscribe. So, Greg, there's something on this thing here. For me. Yep. So, yeah, man, we always have a great time. I see my love. I see my thumbs up. I see people coming up, and now I'm going to have to get my phone out, because I'm going to struggle to see the screen tonight. But what's beautiful about what we're doing here is that we always have an opportunity to kind of share in this process. Like, I'm giving information and sharing with you. I'm bringing guests on, and I'm showing you processes that I'm doing with those individuals, so you can kind of see the steps of how it works. And I love that. And then you're giving me feedback, and you're giving encouragement and talking to one another as a community. Now, look, it's important to me that you, not only that you share, but you ask questions. Give us suggestions, give us recommendations that you think will help us. And we always love having that. You're looking forward, and I keep putting out there for you, but it's going to definitely happen in August. I'm doing my series on your relationship with money. I'm telling you, you do not want to miss this. And so you want to subscribe with me on YouTube, because I'm probably going to be doing that through the YouTube live platform. So even though it'll be posted on Facebook, you want to subscribe and follow me on YouTube. And I definitely need you to like and share what's going on. So give me a second so I can pull up this on my iPhone, because my eyes will not see the screen that we have today on here. The funny things happen. We're setting up, trying to get everything right so we can do the broadcast, and everything's working perfectly, and then we do the very same thing again, and then it stops working. This technology is like a trip. So I'm going to Facebook. And so this is going to help me be able to just kind of see who's checking in. So I loved what happened last week. For those, not last week, but the week before, because we did not do it for 4th of July weekend. But I love what happened last week. We had the gentleman who came on, and he was talking about some of his issues with his wife. And what was so beautiful about that was we had the opportunity to really help him look at his own process. You notice when people are really sharing things about somebody else, they have a lot of words to say. Like they will go on and on and on, because they have so much so many thoughts about it. They have so much feeling. They're getting in touch with their own intentions of why they're doing it. And of course, when they get to their behavior stage, remember the awareness wheel, you're looking at intentions, thoughts, feelings, and then your actions. So in that process, they can only really see themselves, or even if they can see the other person, it is so obscured by what they are experiencing, what they're thinking, and what they're feeling, and what they're trying to get across, what I need you to understand. And so what happens is that you can tell because people begin to run on, and they'll tell the same story over and over and over again. And that's because they get caught in their own cycle, in their own process. And at that point, it becomes so hard to hear. It becomes so hard to see. It becomes so difficult to really, because usually, unless you're skilled, unless you're listening to Advice for Life, you're not aware that you're in that spinning cycle because you're so justified in your own thinking and you're so convinced of your own rightness. You're so clear that if that person could just understand what you are trying to get them to understand, everything would be okay. And it just obscures some of those other things from what that other person is bringing. Look, it's so easy to do even when you're skilled. This happened with me and my wife when we went on date night recently, and my wife had these feelings that she was trying to share with me, these things that were going on inside of her. And a lot of it was related to the fact that, and that's what happens in families. We took on my nephew and my niece. They're living with us right now and staying with us. And it was so, that's a big change when your family dynamic changes. You talking about a 6-year-old boy and another 12-year-old. I already got 2 12-year-old girls. And then you add another 12-year-old to that, and then a 6-year-old boy. Man, I was thinking to myself, man, my girls, I got 5 years. I'm going to get them in college. And then boom, then the way I'm going to relate to you is going to be much different. And me and my wife are going to be able to go back to the good old days. But you add a 6-year-old boy into it, and all of a sudden 5 years, he's 11. So that don't count at that point. He's not even a teenager yet. So anyway, my wife was having a lot of adjustment things that were going on inside her heart and wanting to feel supported for this extra load. And the way she was expressing it was very tense. She had a lot of deep, intense feelings about it. And so she was trying to share, what she was given. And I saw her in a cycle, in a process, trying to get this across to me. And I can tell you, when she was bringing it to me, it was so hard for me to not take it personal. It was so hard for me to, be disciplined and recognize that she was just trying to give me what her feelings, and because she was in her process of her feelings, and giving them very strongly, I saw myself at different times taking offense and really, allowing it to be more personal than really what she was really intending to try to do. And it made me step back. So I had to begin to step back and watch myself and begin to step through the process of reflecting and trying to show understanding. And, it can go left when you try to begin by saying, well, your strengths are, and what I see you doing that's really powerful, and you try to give them the strengths that you see, and you trying to find the good, and they say, I'm not worried about that. I just need you to hear this. So look, you still can't stop, because as you notice, when we had the gentleman on last week, and he was in his process and talking, my wife started out by giving him something very powerful. Well, actually, I started out because I wanted him to acknowledge and say what he felt. And what happens when you say what you feel, when you use one word to communicate what you feel, there is this power that rises up in you because you become in tune with your own feelings. So I was trying to get this gentleman to recognize that you have feelings that you might not really be in touch with. And what you're doing is that you think that if you talk about it more, that somehow you'll get more in touch, or that person will understand you more. But it's just the opposite. It's less words. It's not more words, because you end up saying the same thing over and over and over again. And you sound like a broken record, because you're trying to, make a connection, and you want that person to understand what you feel, but you just keep saying it over and over again. And it's better for you to say the one word, what you feel. And he said he felt betrayed and neglected, and he said a couple other words of feeling words. And we said that, and I said, well, doesn't that help you? Doesn't that help you take away the need to keep saying the words about it? He said, yes. Yeah, now I'm understanding myself what I feel. So it was a very powerful exchange to see him in that dynamic. And then my wife, did a very powerful thing, because she was saying to him, you have in your attempt to try to communicate to your wife and try to explain what you're experiencing with your wife, everything that's coming out is negative. And I love the hearts. That is really encouraging to see that you guys are with me. You see that. So it's very easy when you feel like you have the goods on somebody, or they're not responding in the way that you need them to respond, is to begin to just think about the negative things, and you begin to say all the things that they're not doing, as opposed to some of the things that they are doing. And many times, what I've experienced in my years of counseling and my years of working with people, is that many times the good outweighs the bad. That really, if somebody were to just take the time to remind themselves of what was good about that person, and what that person is bringing that's powerful and healing and helpful to them, they usually come out and recognize that that's the most powerful thing in the relationship. So I was just trying to get him to do that. I was trying to get him to see his process, and my wife was trying to get him to acknowledge the good that his wife had. And you'll notice when you ask somebody, okay, you got all this stuff that you say this person need to do and to work on, and y'all know what I'm talking about. That's what you do. You got this list of things that you already got them when you come to the conversation. You know all the stuff that they need to change. Wouldn't it be refreshing if we came to a conversation and we told the person what we need to do to change? I mean, that would be revolutionary in relationship. So he struggled when my wife said, what is good? He was struggling, like, let's see. Like, he been with this woman almost 20 years, and you can't think right off the top of your head of what's good. Well, what that is that's a sign that you have spent most of your time, even in your thought arena and in your processing about that person, you're thinking about what they have done that is wrong to you. You're thinking about what they don't do and what they haven't done and what they need to do different. And you haven't focused on their good, because you, just as quickly as you can bring up what they need to change and do, you should be able to more quickly bring up what their value is, what their worth is, what their good is. And after a little bit of coaching, he was able to do that. He was able to talk about what was good about his wife. And I thought what was very interesting, what was really powerful, is that he says she has my back, right? So if somebody got your back, like, that's huge. Now, he said that he was disappointed, and he felt like she was keeping and hiding something from him as it relates to the finances. But at the end of the day, even though I can see why he might want to address that, but he made that bigger than the fact that regardless of what that dynamic is, she got his back. She's taking care of him physically, mentally, emotionally. Like, she got his back. She's making sure he's good. And so, that's more powerful. That's bigger than the fact that, he had all these words about what she was not doing. So when you get in your process, it hides from you the real and most important things. And that's what I want you to get. Like, I know over this past year, we've been giving you a lot of things as it relates to Advice for Life, but there's some things that you need to go back and listen to those videos. Go back to the website, advice4life.us, and then go to the you can go to also for the podcast. You can listen to it on a podcast while you're working out. Whatever you're doing through your day, you can get it. You don't have to look at the video, but you can get to the podcast. But you can go on YouTube and look at the video. And I want you to subscribe. I want you to like it, and I want you to repost it. I want you to when you love something, help us get the word out. Help us share with people what they're getting from this. Now, I want to give some more things because I want to talk some more about children, because we do a lot of stuff with husband and wives and more of kind of the adult relationships, and I want to do a little bit about children, just because I'm taking it from what's real for me, y'all. That's what I'm experiencing. And I'm going to say, I'm probably going to come back and say a little bit about my experience with me and my wife and what happened in that dynamic, because what I learned in that, and I'm going to give you that after I check in with my people, what I learned from that is that sometimes things are happening in people that have nothing to do with what they're bringing to you. Meaning, even though the feelings they're bringing you are authentic, they have thoughts that are around those feelings, but it's really connected to something that is not apparent to you in that moment. And sometimes you have to be aware when you know people and you know what they're experiencing, to not get caught into what actions and behaviors that they're giving you at that moment. So I got an example from about my wife around that, and I have an example with the children around that, so I can connect the dots for you in that. So let me check in with my folks. Love that you come on. I love the hearts. I love the thumbs up. It's really encouraging. Of course, Joe Bean Johnson is pulling up to the table every week. I love it. And I see Rhonda. Hey, Rhonda, good to see you, sweetie. I haven't heard. I actually thought about you about a month ago. You were my thoughts and prayers. So good to see you in here. And I see Irie from all the way from Australia. So y'all, we got people coming in and calling in and viewing with us in Australia. And it's probably, I don't know what time it is. Irie, you got to put up there when what time it is in Australia, because I know it's an off time. It's 8:30 here, but it's really good to hear from you. One of my wife's deep prayer partners, and love that. I see Laura Golf. Laura, I see you. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for being with us. I appreciate the thumbs up and the love. And there is my little sister, Tracy, and she just talking about how she missed her babies. Thank y'all all for your support, and I love you too, sis. That's what families do. Families support one another, and even if it's just for a summer break, it doesn't matter. It's good that we can share the parenting in families. I know that in my family, I had many of my cousins that were raised by our grandmother or their aunt or their uncle. That's just the way families do. They step up and just support. And there's one of my cousins, Jerry Harper. Hey, Jerry, good to see you. Love you. Glad that you're with us. And Wayne, one of our great supporters on that. Merkita Beckwith, I think, Merkita, is this your first time? I don't remember seeing your name come up before, but thank you for coming in. And remember, I forgot to tell everybody, look on the left-hand side of your device. You'll see a share button. I need you to hit that share button and send it out to all your friends and family and let them know that you're enjoying and you're getting something from Advice for Life. I appreciate that. Pam Scott, one of my regulars, and Stacy Everett. Stacy, thank you for calling. I haven't forgotten your call. I just been so swamped and busy, but I want to hear your voice too. Thank you for being and being supportive. You're such a great support. Andrea Blamerville, my mom, she said, you must always start out with the good thing. Yes, absolutely. And remember, I want you guys to comment. If you have questions, bring those on. That's so important. And then I see Paul Brilski, nice, a colleague of mine. Paul's good to see you come in and join us as we help people in their relationship. And Paul does a lot of great work in the community with children and families. And Joe Johnson said, I know my wife has my back. I know that's right. And Irie said, it is 9 a.m. in Australia, y'all. So she got up early in the morning to join Advice for Life. Ari, that's so nice. I see Laura joining us, and my brother Tony Boyd, the guy who's the truck driver going all around spreading Advice for Life everywhere. Carla, I see you guys. I appreciate it. I appreciate you checking in. And remember, those of you who are watching, listen, I know a lot of you are watching. I need you to comment, because if you don't comment or give something to let us know, we won't always know that you have joined us. And I know that it's hundreds of you that are watching when we're doing the show. So give a little comment, just say hi, do something so I can acknowledge you. All the thumbs up and the hearts are beautiful. I love that, because it's encouraging. As you know, doing a program like this takes a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of work. And it just requires the desire of people for you to continue to do it. I want to remind you of our website as I drink this water. I want to remind you of our website, www.advice4life.us. Incredible. All of our past video programs are on there. Our podcasts, where you can listen to the program through the day. You can listen to it while you're working out, whatever. And then, of course, you can go to our YouTube channel. All of these are under Al Laws Jr. So you just go on YouTube, Al Laws Jr., and you can look at all of our previous shows. I need you to repost those. I need you to like them, and I need you to subscribe. So if you subscribe, it's going to be very powerful, because when I start doing some of these extra things that I'm going to begin to do on YouTube, it'll notify you and you'll know. I think I can see pretty long distance there. I see Dante Griffin. Hey, Dante, good to have you, brother. Nice for you to join us this evening. So I don't see any questions. So I see Mark Davis. Hey, Mark, good to see you, brother. So I see my people, everybody's coming on. Again, talk to one another. This is a community. This is something where you're giving your feedback and your comment. You're sharing from your wisdom, because your wisdom is just as valuable as the wisdom that I'm trying to give you. So that connection is important for you to do that. Any thoughts, any questions, please rise them up. I love the thumbs up and the hearts. So going back to what I shared earlier, me and my wife had this intense exchange during our date night. And what was really interesting is that while I saw her in her cycle trying to communicate her thoughts that were very strong, and as I was trying to, and I missed it at different times, because as I told you, I began to take some things personal. I began to struggle. I was making facial expressions which she mirrored to me, which I mean, I didn't mean for them to throw her off, but I was, struggling inside myself. But she still reflected to me that I made these facial expressions which took on a life of its own in that. So that's what begins to happen. You get caught within yourself. And so I finally got to the place where I was able to just plan to ignore some things, that I was able to just listen and say what I heard her saying, but it was still very intense. And, as it got on, I got to a point where I saw that the way we were exchanging, and even though I was letting her do most of the talking, whenever I tried to get in, even if it was a positive thing, we weren't clicking. It wasn't working. And so what I've learned in those situations is, what I tell you is it's called planned ignoring. Now, that doesn't mean you ignore the person. You still stay engaged in that sense. And I don't think I did it as well as I could have done, because basically what I did is I did not, and said, I actually made the word, I don't think this is the best time for us to continue this conversation. Now, that's important, because you're really saying is, we need to get some space. We need to come back at a more teachable time. So planned ignoring is really not to ignore somebody. It's really to wait for a more teachable moment, when all your heads have been cleared and all the intensity of the feelings are there, but you always come back. You never just ignore it. You come back. And actually, we came back that next morning, and we were able to have a really powerful exchange that was where we were able to both be more skillful and to show understanding and to reflect what each other was saying in it. And you learn from those experiences, and that's what you do. If you don't keep fighting, you don't keep knocked down, drag out doing that, like that's not going to get you anywhere. But this is what I really, really want to give you about hidden things and not seeing hidden things. I was really thinking that what she was giving me was about her experience with the difficulty and all the extra responsibility around having my niece and nephew with us. I was thinking that that's what it really was, and that had something to do with it. But when she came back to me, and she came back later and she apologized for her intensity, what it really came down to is that when I really heard her is that she wasn't feeling successful, or she had already had a routine down for my girls. She knew what to do. There was no question about her ability to navigate success. But with our niece and our nephew, they have a lot of things that they still are working through and that's going on within them. They got thoughts and feelings about what that's going on in them that are different and new. So she could not guarantee success. And this is what was even deeper. I also did not recognize some of the hidden things, because even though I still thought it was about the change in the transition that was going on, what I really found out was, and what I should have caught, and I said to myself, Al, you should have caught this. Her real feelings, her real intensity was about the fact that her mom had a major operation the week before. And she had all of this built up inside of her. So dealing with the fact that she thought she was nervous. Like she thought about losing her mom. So I should have shown more understanding. I should have been more aware of the experiences that my wife was going through, and recognizing that while she might be intense about this and it might be real about what she's experienced, that real intensity is really about the fear and the emotions she was having about the fact that she was watching her mom on an operating table. So when I dissected, I said, wow, Al, you've been doing this a long time, but you missed that completely, because I should have already had that resonant, residing in me, that, your wife is going to have some responses that are going to need a lot of understanding and a lot of you recognizing that she may be touchy about a whole lot of other things that have nothing to do with her real intensity about those things. Her feelings are true about it. What she might be thinking about it might be true. Her need to be successful was true about my niece and my nephew, but in those children that we're trying to give them all of who we are. But really, the intensity was coming from the fact about what was going on with her mom. And when you are able to be aware, remember I talk about the awareness wheel, that you have to be aware of what experiences and what people have gone through, because that impacts how they are going to respond to you and how their behavior is going to manifest to you. So that was a lesson to me about hiddenness. So I gave you that one about my wife, and I'm going to give you one about my nephew. So my nephew is naturally 6 years old. So, he's used to being around my sister, his grandmother, and my niece, his mother. So of course he's going to miss them. That's what 6-year-olds do. They miss people that they're connected with. But he's been in this state where he cries all the time about stuff. So, but I already knew that he cried. My sister told me he cries about different things, and that's natural. That's a normative process for young boys to cry a lot. And let me give you this as I process through this with you. I think we have done an injustice to young men when we take on a process where we are, and it's so natural because you want the young man to be able to, have strength and fortitude within himself, and you don't want him to cowtail and be not able to respond to the things in life that that a young man is going to have to experience. So our natural inclination is, stop that crying, boy. What you crying for? Stop all that crying. And then you'll hear people say this, men don't cry. Come on now. Be a big boy. You ain't supposed to be crying all the time. And so when you get that, I get it. I get what you're trying to give that young boy. But what we have done in a very hidden way is that we have taken away the permission of young boys and that become men. We have taken away their permission to cry. We have taken away their permission to emote and show feeling, because we have just wrapped it all up and says, stop crying. you need to stop that. Stop crying. And so what my approach has been with him is that I've said to him, and this is my opportunity, it's a teachable moment. I've said, there is an appropriate place and time to cry. This just happens not to be one of them. Like, this is not a time to cry. There's times to cry. There's times when you cry, when you really feel something, when something touches your heart, you're connecting with something. God gives you something, or you see an insight that really moves you, or there's a scene in a movie. And, of course, he does Power Rangers. There's a scene in Power Rangers that that moves you, your hero, something happens to them. That's an appropriate time to cry. But you crying just because, you got to go to school today, that's not a reason to cry. But I do allow him to cry when he misses his mom. I say to him, I understand why you're crying, because you miss your mom. So I'm trying to get him in touch with the feeling that's connected with that. And I'm saying, but there's a way for you, after you have gotten in touch with that feeling, you don't always have to choose to cry. You can say, Uncle Alfie, can I call my mom? I miss her. So, and I'm getting him to begin to speak his feelings, to say his feelings, so he doesn't have to always choose crying, because he's crying because he has heavy emotion and he's not in touch with how to identify with that. And the only way he knows to identify with things that hurt him, that give him those kind of emotional spirals, is to cry. And that's what 6-year-old boys are going to do. But it's our responsibility to teach those young boys how to have alternatives, how to get in touch with their feelings, how to ask for what you want. So when you ask for what you want, then you can not always choose crying as your reason. And I'm going to step back a little bit more. So I'm hoping I hear some comments from some of my men that are on here, because I'm glad on Advice for Life we have a lot of men that participate. Look, I want to say this. Let me give this first. I'm not going to give the name. I have a very dear friend, and he knows, and I've said this to him, so when I give my commentary, he's not going to think that I'm just putting this on him. But he struggles with crying. Like he could be experiencing one of the most emotional, ripping thing that he's experiencing, and he just won't shake. He won't. I'm not. I ain't crying. You can see it. His whole face is turning, contorting, because somewhere down the line in his development, it's inside his being that he has not found and recognized and appreciated the appropriateness of crying as a man. He has not recognized that there's nothing wrong with a man crying. And that a man crying does not mean that that man is less of a man or less strong. In fact, I'm going to give you this because I'm going to rock your paradigm. I say this: to the degree that you can cry appropriately as a man, and you can emote and communicate and share what you need and share your feelings and cry, that determines how secure you are as a man. I want you to let that sink in. I'm saying the more you can appropriately cry and emote as a man, that really indicates how secure you really are. You are more secure when you're able to do that. And I'm going to say this, I don't always like to do the converse, but I'm going to say it to make this point strong. the less that you are able to emote and to cry up in the appropriate time, in the appropriate situation, it shows and reveals the level of your insecurity as a man. So you're more strong when you can cry appropriately. You're more in touch with who you are. You're more brave because you don't really care that somebody might have alternative thinking about you, because you're secure in yourself. You don't care what they're thinking about your crying, because you know that your crying is appropriate and is consistent and it's consistent with what God has given you, which is tear ducts and the ability to emote. So you're joining more with the Creator when you cry in the appropriate manner. Now, if you're crying, because your car is broke, is in the shop, that's inappropriate. So just like a little boy crying because his toy is broke, that's not an appropriate place to cry. That means that you need some more lessons around that. But you are more secure. You are stronger when you can emote and cry as a man. And go ahead and post that on, I need you guys to send that out on YouTube and send that out to the world. Catch a man outside crying. How about that? That's what I need you to do. I need you to promote this instead of posting all that other garbage that's out there, because this is what's real. This changes our communities. This changes the relationships and marriages, because when a man cannot properly get in touch with his feelings, and he can't identify his feelings, and he can't emote his feelings, he's bound up. Of course, what's going to come out is anger. Of course, what's going to come out is judgment. Of course, what's going to come out with, you just getting frustrated and leaving, or wanting to spend all your time with your boys because your boys don't require you to emote. Matter of fact, half of them don't know how to emote or get in touch with their emotions. So they give you permission to stay in the same insecure place that you live in. Yep. I need to give that. I need to give that. So this is a message from a 6-year-old kid coming to you. So I'm teaching my 6-year-old son. I call him my son. He's my nephew, but he's a son to me. I'm teaching him the balance, how to know when it is appropriate to emote and to cry, and when it's not appropriate to do it. Now, here was the hidden thing. So he was crying. This is the second day in a row that he was crying because he didn't want to go to school. So the first day he cried was on Monday. So I joined him. He's crying. I don't want to go to school. Why are you crying? Tell me why you crying. So I'm always asking him why he's crying, because I want him to have a reason for it. Instead of him, boy, what's all that noise early in the morning on Monday? You better stop that crying. No, I said, why are you crying? Why are you crying? All them, you got to go through all the tears and the snots. And I said, why are you crying? Tell me. You have to know you're crying for a reason. Why you're crying? Because I don't want to go to school. Oh, okay. Why don't you want to go to school? Because I just don't want to go to school. I said, okay. You just don't want to go to school. But I think there's a reason why you don't want to go to school. Because I just had the weekend. So I'm reflecting so you are crying because you don't want to go to school because you just had the weekend. So you had a long, nice weekend, right? Didn't you enjoy your weekend? You got to swim almost a whole day the other day. You had all kinds of food, and we went and ate out, for lunch, and you had fun with everybody. And now that your responsibilities show up on Monday, you have to go to school, and so you're crying about it. You have some feelings about getting up on Monday morning and having feelings about taking care of your responsibility for school. He said, yes, I don't want to go to school. I said, guess what? Join the rest of the world, because I don't want to go to work on Monday morning. Most people, I'm telling you, I said, letting him know, I'm connecting with him. Most people, when they have an enjoyable weekend, it is hard for them to want to do their responsibilities, young man. So I understand. I get it. You can have feelings, but I want you to know that you have to learn that you have to do your responsibilities. If I don't go to work and do my responsibilities, we don't eat, we don't get the bills paid. We don't have the things that we need to survive as a family. And so your responsibility is school. And although I see and I understand why you have feelings about not wanting to do it, this is not an appropriate time for you to cry. Everybody in the world don't want to do what they're supposed to do on Monday morning. So you got a lot of company. You got a lot of company on Monday morning. So that was Monday morning. I know I'm going on with this. I'm going, and I know y'all laughing. You got to give me the laughter, and y'all got to connect with me in love, because I know some of y'all out there know exactly what I'm talking about. But I'm showing you how being skillful works with your children. It works with any situation. You just have to be aware. And children need this at a young age, so when they grow up, I mean, I wish I had this when I was a teenager. Man, I would have saved myself from a whole lot of crazy, stupid stuff if I had been able to get in touch with my feelings and my thoughts and been aware of my process. So the second day that he cried, why are you crying today? I don't want to go to school. I said, okay. So yesterday you didn't want to go to school because of the weekend. Tell me why today, on Tuesday, you want to go to school. I don't know. I don't want to go to school. Now he's doing this. He's with my wife now. Now I couldn't really jump in this day because I got an early morning meeting. I'm getting dressed and I really wanted to jump in, but my wife, she was right there. She's talking. I'm listening to the background. While I'm getting dressed, I naturally fell into what a father, uncle mode is. Like, I'm going to go in there and get this boy and give him something to cry for. Like, y'all know, y'all heard that. You going to cry? I'm going to give you something to cry for. So I'm battling this within myself, because being a skilled person, I know I don't want to, stop that crying. I'm trying to get him to do something because it's convenient for me, rather than me recognizing that he cried 2 days in a row. How about that? How about acknowledging that this is happening emotionally. I don't want him to have a pattern. I don't want him crying every day that he wakes up. That's probably why I wanted to respond that way. So, but when I was resisting what I was doing with that, what happens is that you see a hidden thing. And this was another thing, just like with my wife, I should have recognized that her mother's hospital experience was part of the reason of her intensity in our discussion. I should have realized that my wife took my niece out to celebrate her birthday, and she took all the girls, and they were able to miss school that day. So the second day why he was crying was not just that he didn't want to go to school. He was hurt that he was not able to participate in the birthday celebration, but it was a girl thing. And he couldn't miss school. He missed school for basketball, where they had to still go to school when he went to basketball camp. Of course, that's my reflection to him. But it didn't change the fact that he felt left out, and he wanted to celebrate with my niece. And so that's where we led him to. We helped him understand that my wife joined him around his disappointment about not being able to go on the birthday trip, and just reminded him that, when you're disappointed, it's appropriate to cry when you're disappointed, but you have to put it in perspective. You have to balance it with the fact that, you were able to leave school and they had to go to school when you left school. So anyway, I mean, I know that's I'm taking a child example, but I want people to recognize that advice for life and family strengthening is applicable to every area of your life. And if you become skilled, if you really want to improve your relationships, if you really want to become skilled, go back and look at these tapes. I'm telling you, I have probably almost 100 videos and podcasts. If you start from the beginning, look, I'm telling you, go into the beginning. When I'm going to wrap back around to that when I'm talking about how to find the good and how to show understanding, because I'm going to be moving on to some more advanced things. My couples are going to come back in August. I'm going to also do in August, I'm going to start my financial piece, where I talk about your relationship with money and how to, how to relate properly with money, because that is a relationship with finances and resources. And remember, you have to go on YouTube and you have to, what is that? Follow me on YouTube or subscribe to me on YouTube. That's right. Subscribe to me on YouTube, and like it and share it as you love what you're doing. So if you really want to change the dynamic and you want to get better, it's like anything in life. You have to hone your craft. You have to put time in and listen. Sometimes you have to listen to something over and over again. I guarantee you, if you listen to this material, all this material that I've given for you free of charge, you will dramatically improve all of the vital signs of relationships throughout your life. And that's why I'm doing it. I'm doing it because I really know that it's going to bless you. It's going to help you. God, I don't even want to do these shows a lot of times on Tuesday, to be honest with you, because I'm so busy and doing so many things, but God has mandated me to get this out, to not hold it in, to share it. So the way you can help is to share this, repost this Facebook. Let people know, help people to join. If you're being blessed by this, give that. That's your share it's fair. That's your part and your contribution. So as I wrap up, because we're coming to the end, I want to acknowledge some more of my folks in there. If you guys have enjoyed this, I need some hearts and thumbs up. I had a very exhausting day today. You probably can't tell, because I'm so committed to giving you what I believe is going to bless your life, bless the life of your family, your children, all your significant others. So thank you so much for those hearts and those encouragements. So I need to go check in with my fam, and give me 1 second. I just can't believe Iris is on. I'm so blessed that Iris joined us from Australia. And see some comments here. I see Dante, hey Al, it's my 2-year anniversary today. This is priceless information. Now, I told you, Dante, when you got married, that, all the things that God did for you was practice rounds because Dante's in the community, serving families, helping families stay together, helping families process issues that they're going on. But when it comes close to home, when you got to live with it, when you got to sleep with it, when you got to continually deal with the intimacy of marriage, yes, you're right. That you need to go back, as skilled as you are, Dante, and I know you're skilled, you need to go back to the Advice for Life and listen to those programs, because it's hitting it from a different perspective than you're usually getting it from in the work that you do in the community and field. So you need to do that. And then Scott said, Pam Scott said, amen. Obedience is better than sacrifice. Joe Bean Johnson, James B. I'm sorry, I call him Joe Bean, but Joe Bean Johnson. At least you don't cry about not always wanting to do this evening Tuesday program. Thank you, Joe Bean. You're right. I don't cry about it. I have a smile on my face, because before I come before you, I feel like it, because I go before God and says, I'm doing this from my heart. I'm doing this because I care for people and I want people to get it. And but it just helps and it blesses when you do that. I see one of my cousins, Karen Good, came on. It's nice to see you, Karen. I hope this is blessing you. I see Marina Phelan. I know who that is. I just can't. My memory. I'm getting old, but I know her. Yeah. So thank you. I think she follows me as well. So thank you, Charity Ash. Charity, I haven't heard from you for a long time. Thank you. I thank you for being on, and it's so blessed to have you join us on here. I'm seeing if they have any more comments. Let me come out, Greg, because I don't want to miss anybody's comments, because sometimes what it does, it hides the comments. So let me go back in as I close out. And so and Dante was joining Joe Bean about me not crying for Tuesdays. So I'm not crying. Tracy, I was shocked that Tracy hadn't said anything. That's why I knew some things didn't come through. Thank you for showing up, Al. It helps me grow. Tracy is one of my most faithful followers. She almost never misses. And that's really strange because she works for me. And so she got to hear my mouth all the time. So maybe it's a refreshing thing that she can hear my mouth in a situation where it helps her. But she has just been a blessing in that. And this is Enos Dunlap. Thank you for joining us. I hope you enjoyed this and got something. I hope you'll share. Remember, right now in the left-hand corner of your screen, hit the share button and share it out to everybody to let them know that this program, if this helped you. And remember, a lot of this, I'm just giving it to you from my heart. It's off the cuff. I'm giving you real experiences from me. I want you to know that, yes, me and my wife have a beautiful relationship of 24 years, but it's not because we've never experienced anything. It's because we have experienced things and we have worked through them and we've applied what we've learned to, for the most part, have a tremendous relationship. I see D Flowers and 6 other people just shared my video. Thank you, D Flowers, for that. So y'all, I really appreciate I see Andrea says sometimes it's too hard to find the words to express your feelings. It is, but I don't want you to find the words, Andrea. I want you to find the word. So the reason why it's hard for you to find the words is because feelings, you get in touch with feelings better when you say one word. So don't find the words for your feelings. Find the word, one word for your feelings. So I just wanted to get that in. Dante says it's an awesome example. Planting seeds. I love what you're doing. Thank you, Dante. And I see a lot of amens. Pam said, yes, thanks so much. This is great food. And I see Tony and 7 other people shared the program. Probably those 7 are people who haven't even made comments yet on the program, but it's all good. So y'all, look, I'm running out of time. I think I got in touch with most of my people. I didn't get as many comments from you guys, so I just want you to give some more comments. You can still comment when this is being reposted. You can give additional comments after you have thought through some of what has been said and let people know you're blessed. Share this, post this, repost this, like this on both YouTube, Facebook, and on YouTube especially. I need you to follow and subscribe to my YouTube because you're going to see a lot of more blasts coming from YouTube as we continue our format. I'm going to be doing short minuets on YouTube, and you want to be notified of those because those are going to be shorter programs, like about 5 minutes, but they're going to be packed with some very powerful truth, wisdom, and guidance for you in your life. And then I'll get my young people to send it up on Snapchat because I can't Snapchat yet. I'm snapping my chat. I can't snap the chat yet. Hey, y'all, I love y'all. Every Tuesday at 8:30. Remember, this is the end of our summer process. I may sneak one in, so still stay tuned. And you need to follow me here follow Outlaws on YouTube, and it'll notify you if I decide to do one. I might do one in that 2-week period, but I don't want to feel pressured on vacation to do that. So I'm sure to come back that first Tuesday in August. So I look forward to seeing you. Please stay supportive. Let me know how this has blessed you. We'll be posting some of your comments throughout the week on my Facebook page. So make sure you check that out. Love you. Appreciate you. And as I always say, and I didn't bring my socks today. It's in the socks, but my socks are kind of just blue like my suit. So they got little checkers. You can't see the checkers, but it came from the socks. I love y'all. See you next time and for Advice for Life. Love you. Peace.